He gave me pain, so I returned patience. In our perfect condo in Solana Beach, I built him a life of comfort and peace. He thought it was forgiveness. He didn't understand that silence was the setup and peace was the trap. I just had to wait until he stopped fearing me, until he was perfectly, hopelessly still. In Solana Beach, I made sure he believed everything was fine. The Keurig machine hissed, filling the white ceramic mug. The aroma of the French roast was rich, expensive. It was the only brand Richard liked. I picked up the mug, its warmth seeping into my fingers. I slid the glass door open. The salt air, cool and sharp, hit my face. It was another perfect morning. The Pacific Ocean was a flat sheet of blue, glittering under the 7 a.m. sun. Richard was already in his usual spot on the balcony, feet propped up on the glass partition, tablet resting on his lap. "Morning, dear," I said. He grunted, eyes still on the screen. "Evie." I placed the coffee on the small table beside his lounge chair. "I brought your coffee." "Thank you." He reached for it, his knuckles thick, the gold wedding band tight on his finger. He took a sip, a small, satisfied sigh escaping his lips. I gave him comfort, presence, and peace. I gave him everything he thought he wanted. I sat in the chair opposite him. Our condo was high up, the view unobstructed. We had coastal walks planned for the afternoon, dinner reservations at a place in La Jolla where the ocean sprayed the windows. His retirement was exactly as he'd pictured it. He tapped the screen of his tablet. "Market's up." "That's nice, Richard." My gaze drifted from his face to the white mug in his hand. The steam rose in a thin, lazy curl, and just like that, I wasn't on the balcony. I was in our old study back in Chicago. The house was dark, silent. It was 3 a.m. I was only awake because the dog had been sick. I was walking back from the kitchen when I saw the light from under the study door. Richard never locked it. He had no reason to. I wasn't the kind of wife who checked up on him. I had been, up to that night, the kind of wife who trusted. I pushed the door open. He wasn't there. He had left his laptop on, the screen glowing. He'd been careless. I stood in the doorway, my bare feet cold on the hardwood floor. I saw a spreadsheet, columns of numbers, dates, transfer amounts. My hand went to my mouth, not in shock, but to quiet my own breathing. I walked to the desk. I sat in his leather chair. It was still warm. I touched the mouse. The screen brightened. It wasn't just a spreadsheet. It was a digital life. Folders nested inside folders. Contingency, assets, Belize. He wasn't just cheating. He was building an exit. I clicked. I saw the statements. The digital wallets I never knew existed. The offshore accounts. My name was nowhere. My family's money, the inheritance my father had left me, was moving in small, steady streams. Siphoned away, click by click, for years. He was just waiting. Waiting for me to pass on, or waiting until he had enough to disappear. He was treating me with polite, sterile kindness while he systematically hollowed out our life. He was abandoning me, just doing it slowly so I wouldn't notice. The pain was sharp, a spike of ice driven straight through my chest. I saw our entire marriage as a fraud. His patience, his calm demeanor, it wasn't strength. It was disdain. I wanted to scream. I wanted to wake him up, to throw the laptop against the wall. Instead, I took a breath. My hand on the mouse was perfectly still. I closed the window. I closed the folder. I navigated back to the article on golfing he'd left open. I did not cry. I did not get angry. I made a decision. He gave me pain. I would return patience. I would wait. I would not let him run. I would wait until he no longer feared me. "Evie?" My head snapped up. The sun was brighter now, warming my face. Richard was looking at me over the rim of his mug. His brow was furrowed. "You spaced out. Everything all right?" I forced a small, soft laugh. "Just tired." I reached across the table, my hand covering his. His skin was dry. "I was just thinking," I said, my voice light. "I'm so glad we did this. Moving here." He relaxed, patting my hand. "It's good, isn't it? A fresh start." "A fresh start," I agreed. He turned back to his tablet. He had no idea. He thought the past was buried, or worse, that I was too simple to have ever found it. He saw San Diego as his victory. I saw it as the stage. The study in the condo was my chosen space. It was bright, with a view of the Torrey Pines Preserve. I'd had a sleek modern desk installed, a sterile expanse of white acrylic. This is where I began my performance. I sat at the desk for an hour, laptop open, clicking aimlessly. I sighed. It was a small sound, but just loud enough. Richard was in the leather armchair across the room, reading a biography. Richard? He lowered the book, his expression bored. What is it, Evie? It's this digital nonsense, I said, rubbing my temples. I'm just trying to pay the electric bill. It says, invalid login. It locked me out, again. I tapped the mouse against the desk, a rhythm of hollow plastic clicks. Everything is an app now, a portal. I can't keep all these passwords straight. I just can't keep up. He sighed, a sound of mild exasperation, and put the book down. Evelyn, it's not that complicated. You just have to be careful when you type. He walked over, standing behind me, radiating his impatient superiority. Let me see. I moved aside. He sat down, his hands covering the keyboard. The password for the electric is Beach House 1, I offered. No, he said, typing. That was the old one in Chicago. This one is SDGE 760. He hit enter. The portal opened. I put my hand on his shoulder. Oh, see? How do you remember that? You're just so much better at this, dear. My mind feels so cluttered, he grunted, but I saw his shoulders relax. He was pleased. I'm just overwhelmed, I continued, my voice soft, vulnerable. We have the new bank accounts, the retirement portals, the new insurance. I don't know how I'll manage it all. I'm afraid I'll break something. I let the silence hang, let him absorb my manufactured helplessness. He looked at the screen, then at me. All right, he said. It's probably better if I set it all up under one umbrella. Consolidate it. Oh, Richard, could you? Would you? I made my voice lighter. I would feel so much safer. I'll do it. He waved a hand. Go get us some of that iced tea. I'll get this sorted. I left. When I returned 20 minutes later with 2 tall glasses, he was focused, typing rapidly. They're making me create a new master password for the main brokerage account, he said, not looking up. The shared one. Oh? I set the glass down next to him, careful not to crowd him. I watched his fingers. Thick, confident. I'm making one for all the important ones. So it's easy, he typed it in. He had to type it twice to confirm. What is it? I asked. I should write it down. It's Solana Beach 2025. Oh, that's good. But I'll forget it. I'll forget the exclamation point. Evelyn, no, you're right, I said quickly. I went to the desk drawer and pulled out a new notebook. It was bound in dark blue leather, simple and elegant. I bought this just for emergencies. My address book, the doctor's. I'll put it all in here. I opened it to the first blank page. I wrote finances at the top in my neatest script. What was it again, dear? Slowly, he dictated it. Capital S Solana, Beach 2025, exclamation point. I wrote it down. My hand was perfectly steady. And the bank one? He sighed, but told me. SD Trust Bank 45. I wrote it down. And the electric? Evie, I just told you. I know, I want it all in one place. He huffed, but he dictated that too. I filled half a page. He watched me, his lips pressed into a thin line that was almost a smile. He thought it was funny. You're a child sometimes, Evie, he said, standing up. I know. I looked up, making my eyes wide and thankful. Thank you for handling it. You always know what to do, he patted my shoulder. Just keep that book somewhere safe. Don't need you losing our entire retirement, do we? I'll keep it right here, I said, sliding the notebook into the top drawer. Right where I can find it. He chuckled, picked up his iced tea, and went back to his chair. Good. I looked at the closed drawer. His scent, a mix of old paper and expensive soap, lingered in the chair. I didn't need the book. I had watched his fingers. I had already memorized the rhythm, the shape of his hands on the keys. But the book was the proof. It was the part of the trap he would build himself. That night, I called out from the bedroom. Richard, what was that password again? The one with the beach? It's in the book, Evelyn. He called back, his voice muffled. I know, but I'm all tucked in. Just tell me. I heard him groan, the sound of him sitting up in bed. Solana Beach 2025? All caps S and B. No, just the S, I corrected him. You said just the S was capitalized. What? No, Damn it. I heard him get out of bed. He was annoyed. He was coming to the study. He was coming to check the notebook. The weeks in Solana Beach turned into months. Our routine became rigid, a comfort he sank into like a warm bath. We walked the beach at 10 a.m. We had lunch on the patio. He would read his biographies, and I would read my design magazines. I cooked. He chose the wine. We were the perfect picture of affluent retirement. Richard became soft, not just in his body, which had thickened around the middle, but in his mind. He was no longer the sharp, restless man I had known. The man who always checked his phone, who always seemed to be listening to a conversation happening somewhere else. One afternoon, I brought him his mail. He was at the dining table, working on a crossword puzzle. I handed him the stack, then held back one small, plain, white envelope. This one came too, I said. It's from Belize. Belize Holdings. That sounds important. Is it from one of your old partners? I watched his face. There was no flash of panic, no quick, calculating look, not even a flicker of annoyance. He took the envelope from me. He didn't even look at the return address. He tore it open. It was just a standard tax notice. Junk, he said, tossing the letter and envelope onto the table. Some silly venture that never panned out. Years ago, he looked back at his puzzle. What's a 7-letter word for persistent? Dogged, I said. He smiled, filling in the boxes. Good one, Evie. He didn't see the test. He didn't realize he'd just passed. He had completely forgotten what he was hiding, because he was so sure it was hidden for good. He was not checking his hidden accounts. He was not tending to his digital escape routes. He was here, with me. Utterly, blindly comfortable. That night, his back was stiff. Evelyn, my back! He grumbled from his armchair. I went to the linen closet and retrieved the electric heating pad. I came back, plugged it in, and waited for it to warm. I folded it and gently tucked it behind his lower back. Ah, he sighed. That's better. Can I get you anything else? I asked. Your scotch? Please, dear. Just a small one. I poured it. I handed him the heavy glass. He sipped it, his eyes closing. The biography of some general lay open on his chest. He gave me pain. I returned patience. I waited until he no longer feared me. He was asleep in under 10 minutes. His head lolled to the side, his mouth falling open. A quiet, wet snore. He was completely vulnerable. He was still. I watched him for a long moment. The only sounds were his breathing and the distant, rhythmic crash of the waves. I stood up. I walked past him, down the hall to my study. The blue leather notebook was in the top drawer, just as I'd promised. I didn't need it. I closed the study door, the click of the latch inaudible over the sound of the ocean. I sat at my white desk. The room was dark, but I didn't turn on the lamp. I opened my laptop. The screen lit up, casting a pale, cold light on my face. I didn't open the standard browser. I didn't check our shared bank accounts. I launched a separate program, the kind that left no trace, the kind that required its own set of passwords. It was time to work. Richard was snoring in the armchair, the empty scotch glass tipped over on the side table. I had left it there. I was in the study, the door shut. My laptop screen was the only light in the room. I wasn't forgetting passwords anymore. I was using them. Solana Beach 2025. I typed it. I hit enter. The portal opened, the one he thought was shared. From there, I had access to the router. And from the router, I had a map of every device he used. I had been very busy. My work was quiet, meticulous. I moved with precision. I opened an encrypted video client. The screen flickered and a face appeared. A woman, severe, with glasses. She was not in San Diego. She was in a different time zone, in a room filled with binders. Mrs. Vance, she said. Her voice was flat, no emotion. Mr. Holloway, I replied, using the name we had agreed on. Did you find the last drive? I held up a small black USB key. It was exactly where you said, taped inside his old golf bag. And the password? The name of the dog he had before he met me. Barney. The accountant's face did not change, but she nodded. He's arrogant. That helps, she typed for a moment. I am in. My screen split. I saw her monitor. I saw what Richard had done all those years ago. The original fraud. The careful, systematic theft. He used the main trust account to fund the Belize transfer, she said, her cursor hovering over a line item from 2018. This is the link. He commingled the funds before he moved them. This wasn't his money or our money. This was your family's money. He broke the bylaws of the trust. Is it enough? I asked. It's more than enough. The accountant looked up, her eyes meeting mine through the screen. This is irrefutable. It proves criminal intent. His claim to any asset, present or future, is invalid. He didn't just break your trust, Mrs. Vance. He committed multiple felonies. Good. Prepare the final report. Send it to the legal team. I want the notifications ready to serve. And the assets? They will be moved to the new protected trust, I said. The one you helped me establish in Delaware. The moment the notifications are sent. It will be a clean transfer. He won't be able to touch it. I know, she paused. This is a very thorough case, Mrs. Vance. You did good work. I had a good teacher, I said. I had found her through a firm that specialized in high net worth divorces. But she was more than that. She was a hunter. I closed the connection. The screen went back to my desktop. He thought I was making grocery lists. He thought I was looking at design magazines. I was building an ironclad legal case. I was not a woman scorned. I was a prosecutor. I had spent the last 6 months creating the legal backdoors. I had prepared the trust documents. I had set up the new accounts, the ones he could never find. I had drafted the emails. I had prepaid the lawyer. My work was done. I closed the laptop. The room was dark again. I stood up, my joints stiff from sitting. I walked down the hall. Richard was still asleep, his mouth open, a small damp spot on the arm of the chair. I picked up the empty Scotch glass. I took it to the kitchen, rinsed it, and placed it in the dishwasher. Everything was in place. All I needed now was the right morning. The Keurig machine hissed. The same sound, the same rich, expensive smell of French roast. I filled the white ceramic mug. My hand was steady as I picked it up. The warmth was familiar. I slid the glass door open. The salt air was identical. The Pacific was just as blue, the sun just as bright. Another perfect morning. Richard was in his lounge chair, his back to me, gazing at the ocean. His tablet was dark on the table beside him. For a moment, he was just a man, an old man looking at the sea. I walked up beside him. Your coffee, Richard. He turned, his face relaxed. Ah, thank you, Evie. His eyes were clear. He seemed happy, content. The anxiety of his previous life, the one I had discovered, was completely gone. I had erased it. I had replaced it with this perfect, comfortable routine. I handed him the mug. As he took it, I leaned down. I placed my hand on his shoulder, and I kissed his cheek. His skin was papery and smelled faintly of his expensive aftershave. He froze for a second, surprised by the affection. Then he smiled, patting my hand. Well, what was that for? Just because, I said. My voice was soft. I'm feeling organized today. I looked out at the ocean with him. The waves were small, breaking gently. I've handled all the monthly finances, dear, I said, my voice casual, light. I went through all the portals this morning. Everything is taken care of. Oh, he said, sipping his coffee. Good, good. I knew you'd get the hang of it. Yes, I said. I did. I let my hand fall from his shoulder. He turned his attention back to the water, lifting the mug for another sip. He was unaware. He was still. I watched him for one last second. The man who had taken my life and hidden it away. The man who was drinking his coffee in the condo I paid for with the view I had selected for him. He was a prisoner of the comfort I had built, and he didn't even know there was a cage. I turned. I left him on the balcony. I walked back inside, sliding the glass door closed. The click was almost silent. He didn't hear it. I walked down the hall to my study. The white desk was waiting. My laptop was open. I sat down. I sipped my own tea, which was cold now. I placed my fingers on the keyboard. I moved the mouse. My screen was clean. On the desktop was a single file, a simple document I had created the night before. The file was named Today. I double-clicked. The document opened. It was not a letter. It was a list of links, 5 of them, in a neat blue-black font. I took a breath. I clicked the first link. It opened a secure email portal. A draft was already waiting. It was addressed to my lawyer's private account. The subject line was Notifications. The body of the email contained only one word, Execute. I clicked Send. The window closed. I clicked the second link. It took me to the new, protected trust account in Delaware. A transfer, one I had authorized months ago, was pending. The source was listed, SD Trust Bank 45. The destination, EV Trust. The amount was total. A box appeared. Confirm final transfer? I clicked yes. A small bar appeared. Processing. It took less than 3 seconds. The bar turned green. Transfer complete. All shared assets were gone. They were mine. I clicked the third link. This was a different kind of portal. An anonymous tip line for an international financial crimes unit. The report was already uploaded. All the data from the forensic accountant, all the proof of his original fraud, all the hidden account numbers from Belize. I checked the box that said, I am not a robot. I clicked Submit Report. A green check mark appeared. Thank you. Your report has been filed. The accounts would be frozen within the hour, flagged for criminal investigation. I clicked the fourth link, another email draft. This one was to the condo's leasing office. Subject, Termination of Lease, Unit 12B. The body was polite, formal, and cited a clause I had insisted on, one that allowed termination with 24-hour notice due to a security breach. I had already filed a security breach report with them yesterday, citing a lost key. I clicked Send. I clicked the fifth and final link, a local high-end car service. I had used them before. The form was pre-filled. Passenger, Richard Vance, pickup, our address. Destination, a budget motel in Escondido. I had paid for 1 night. After that, he was on his own. I clicked Confirm Booking for 9 a.m. It was 8:52 a.m. I closed the document. I closed the laptop. The screen went black. It was done, all of it. In less than 2 minutes, I sat in the quiet of my study. I folded my hands on the clean white desk. I did not feel relief. I did not feel joy. I felt complete. I waited. From the hallway, through the closed door of the study, I heard it. A sound from the balcony, a sharp electronic buzz, then a second later, another buzz, and again, and again. The buzzing from the balcony was followed by silence. Then a scrape. The sound of the metal lounge chair being pushed back, fast and violent. I stood up from my desk. I picked up my purse, which I had placed on the floor beside me. I walked out of the study and into the main hallway. I could see him through the living room window. He was standing, his back to the ocean, staring at his phone. His coffee mug was on the floor. I could see the dark splash of liquid on the tiles. He swiped at the screen. He tapped it. He shook it as if that would help. I saw his face. It was not anger. It was a pale, slack-jawed confusion. The look of a man who just woke up in a place he did not recognize. He tried to log into something. I knew it was the bank. I saw his thumb jab at the screen. He failed. He tried again. Access denied. His head snapped up. He saw me. I was standing in the middle of the living room, purse on my shoulder. He pulled on the handle of the sliding glass door. It was locked. He fumbled with the latch, his hands shaking, and wrenched it open. The door hit the frame with a loud bang. Evelyn? He stepped inside. He was breathing quickly. He held up his phone, as if I couldn't see it. The accounts. The bank? It's empty. My email. There's an email from a lawyer. He was looking for an answer. For me to be confused, too. For me to say it was a mistake. Evelyn, what is this? What's going on? I looked at him. His face was blotchy, red and white. His eyes were wide with a terror that was just beginning. I did not answer. There was nothing left to say. I simply looked past him, toward the front door. Evelyn! Talk to me. What did you do? I took my first step toward the door. That's the moment San Diego became my stage. He reached for my arm. Don't you walk away from me. What did you do? I pulled my arm back, a short, clean motion. I did not struggle. I simply removed it, and that's when I took everything back. I walked past him. He just stood there, his phone in his hand, a statue of his own ruin. He was right. I gave him everything he thought he wanted. I gave him peace, and in that peace, he stood perfectly still. I reached the front door. My hand was on the knob. It was the only way to make sure he wouldn't run when I took it all away. I opened the door. I did not look back. I stepped out into the hallway and let the door click shut behind me.